Well, you wouldn't know it was a windy and snowy, cold afternoon in Philadelphia because it is a clear, crystal clear, perfect night in downtown Philadelphia. Little south of Center City is where you find Xfinity Mobile Arena, and we've got one tonight. A Big East clash that has both history and relevance. Villanova playing host to St. John's. Welcome courtside. Thanks for being with us. Paul Burmeister alongside Tariq Turner. No doubts, each one of these teams are off to an encouraging start in Big East play. However, Tariq, we can also say that this is a real measuring stick kind of game for both teams.
Well, I know we're in the city of brotherly love, but tonight there will be no love. It's all about respect and competitive fire and which team can separate themselves. Two teams tied for second place, 5-1 in the league. Two different styles. St. John's wants to run and play up-tempo. Villanova more of a half-court, slow-down pace. Which style will come out on the end, we'll see tonight.
You mentioned each one of these teams built much differently. Let's start with St. John's. They love their big guys up front. It begins with Zuby Ejiofor.
Well, there's a reason he was preseason player of the year, because he's playing like that guy. Leads this team in scoring, rebounds, blocks, assists, and steals. He is a dominant player that impacts the game so many ways. He can play inside, he can control the glass, and then he is a great rim protector to anchor your defense. He's just playing at a very high level, and he cannot be stopped when he's playing his game.
Villanova going to lean a little more in their guards. Akeda Lewis.
He's a dynamic point guard, freshman, incredible feel, great vision, gets his guys easy open shots, and very good at controlling tempo. Kevin Willard trusts him with the ball. He's a smooth, savvy lefty that plays beyond his years, and he's only going to get better.
Different way these teams are built, really reflected in their starting lineups. You start with St. John's. They go with three bigs, Hopkins, Mitchell, and Ejiofor. Fourth consecutive game they've gone with those three big fellas. As for Villanova, they counter with three guards. We saw Lewis, Lindsey, and Perkins join him in the backcourt. Head coaches for Kevin Willard, the switch from the Big Ten to the Big East, off to a very good start for him. 27 wins last year at Maryland. Villanova starts the night 14-3. Hall of Famer Rick Pitino coming off a Big East title kind of season, and this version of the Red Storm looked to be moving in the right direction, having won 3 consecutive conference games.
I mean, what a great story. You got teacher versus student, mentor versus mentee, and Kevin Willard worships Rick Pitino. And they are embedded together as a, family kind of relationship, and you set all that aside tonight because they're trying to come out with a win. St. John's at Villanova, you can't ask for better than that.
Both teams won on Tuesday night. St. John's at the Garden over Marquette. Villanova on the road at Providence, a game I know you called. You're familiar with each one of these teams from having seen them a number of times. Always fun to say Big East and Villanova and St. John's. They're going to go for a second tip here, but
yeah, it wasn't a good throw. Let's do that again.
Warm up, get that one out of the system. There we go. That one works especially well for Villanova. They come in having won their last 2 games, both of those on the road, looking for their first home win of January here at the Xfinity Mobile Arena.
St. John's to come out man-to-man. So important to guard shooters, particularly Lindsey and Hodge. Those are the primary shooters, along with Perkins.
And Perkins shooting it awfully well recently. Good feed inside to Brennan, and the seal is broken. Wildcats up 2.
Great start for Nova. They get the short roll action. It always involves Brennan. Does a great job of setting that screen and creating space for the high percentage shot.
St. John's comes in playing well offensively. They've hit 9. That the freshman Lewis looks inside. Villanova with a quick 4-0 lead.
And it starts with Lewis, the vision and the great pass, gets behind the defense. St. John's had a breakdown there, and a nice job by Perkins moving without the ball.
So I mentioned Villanova comes in with 2 consecutive wins. St. John's one better. They've won 3 in a row since letting one get away against Providence.
Villanova showing a little bit of a mixed zone to matchup.
Inside to Jackson for 2.
That's a fan one. Great pass by Ejiofor and a nice cut. Ejiofor, such an underrated passer. That's part of his game that he's improved the most, his ability to find his teammates. There's a broken play here. Villanova was a little discombobulated, and a nice job by Jackson finding an open lane to cut.
How about Ejiofor leading the team in assists? Gets one there. Jackson in North Carolina last year gets the first 3 points for St. John's here tonight.
There's that full court pressure. They like to use this off of made foul shots and dead ball situations. St. John's, they want to speed this game up and play up-tempo and score off their defense. Villanova, more of a half-court oriented team. They will run selectively, but they want to get sets in the half court.
Villanova comes in as the top 3-point shooting team in the Big East. Perkins has been a big part of that recently. He hit 3 in their last game. Shot clock now down to 4. Lewis lost it. Steal Jackson, but that's an extra step. It will stay here with Villanova.
Well, the ball pressure is going to be key for both teams, and when you're playing against Lewis, he's got such a excellent handle, even though he lost it there, that you got to respect his ability to change speeds, and Jackson on Lewis is a great matchup to watch.
Try to get it back to Lewis. True freshman point guard, second in the Big East in assists. He's had 8 in each of the last 2 games. Perkins in and out. Rebound to the Johnnies.
St. John's going to try to play with tempo and try to play quick, get the ball up the court fast.
Well, Hopkins right there, and he gets the friendly bounce foul after it went in, and the foul against Perkins.
That didn't look like a foul. They called it the push off on Perkins. If you're Rick Pitino, you got to be happy with the fact that Hopkins gets on the board early. Foul trouble going to be something to watch here as well. Hopkins has gotten some early foul trouble in the last couple games.
And there's Sellers. That's what he's been doing. Misfires the first time. And the rebound to Perkins, one of the very best rebounding guards in the Big East.
There's that movement.
Lindsay, he's way off. And look at Brennan work the boards on the baseline. It'll stay here with Villanova. And Duke Brennan averages 11 rebounds per game.
We've got a heavyweight matchup here between Brennan and Ejiofor, 2 of the best rebounders in the league. They both play different styles, but very physical and strong under the rim.
Trying to get it to Hodge for 3. Perkins with it again.
Ejiofor has the ability to switch out on guards. That's what makes him such a great player, and he'll be a great pro.
Hodge off the glass for 3.
He didn't call it, but it counts. And Hodge gets on the board, and Villanova giving St. John's a little bit of that full court pressure right back into a 2-3 zone.
And man-to-man to zone, something they'll switch here tonight, right?
That's what Villanova's done it all season. They mix their defense up between man and zone, and that's how they try to keep St. John's off balance.
Sellers, little one-on-one. Shot clock down to 5. Left him open, not normally his game. Halfway down and out. Mitchell back up and in.
Well, he is the Swiss Army knife. Great job by Mitchell. Athletic, bouncy, quick second jump. And Mitchell, since he's been in the starting lineup, has given this St. John's team more versatility and just more flexibility in that front court with him, Ejiofor, and Hopkins up front.
And that's the move they made after they lost to Providence. Now 4 consecutive starts for him, giving them this 3 big lineup they've been referenced here in the 3-game win streak.
Yep.
Turnover against Villanova.
And to your point, Paul, when Coach Pitino decided to go with that lineup, the big lineup, initially Mitchell was coming off the bench. He said, you know what, I'm just going to play my 5 best players and not overthink it. And that has been their best lineup. And Mitchell gives them a versatility at 6'7". He can play 5, he can play 4 or the 3. And his athleticism allows him to really crash that glass hard and impact the game a variety of ways.
Brings in all kinds of experience, too. 112th start he's making here tonight. Jackson all the way in. Well, he was encouraging last year in his freshman season at North Carolina, and he's just picked up where he left off.
Well, he's a dynamic scorer. He's been up and down, but nice job there. That was a nice double drag, double screen set for Jackson. And he just turned the corner. Nobody stepped up on Villanova.
Lindsay with the ball. He's been Villanova's top scorer the last 3 games, though. He's been off in single digits each of the last 3. Askew into the game with the ball. Been shooting it well. Good look to Brennan.
Well defended by Ejiofor. He kept his hands high and went straight up vertical.
Sellers to Hopkins. Back to Mitchell. Hopkins elevates. And the rebound to Malachi Palmer, who's just checked in for the Wildcats.
Askew's in the bench. You have to be more attentive of his ability to shoot the ball. One of their best 3-point shooters. The ball screen defense for St. John's will change. They will go over the top when Askew's in the game.
Askew hit for 20 points on Tuesday night in their win. Quick draw from Perkins.
Shot by Perkins, the elder statesman and only returned scholarship player that played significant minutes last year. Doesn't get enough credit, but he's a big part of their success this year with their scoring ability. Hit 4 3-pointers against the Johnnies last year in the win here in Philly. Hopkins driving, couldn't get it to go. Brennan with a board. He's fouled as he corralled it. As you would expect in Philadelphia between Villanova and St. John's, back and forth we go. Good amount of physicality as well. Jackson, the sophomore, to the hoop. And Perkins, hot like he was in the last game. Just underway in Philadelphia. Strong family connection between the two head coaches tonight that goes back to Kevin Willard's father, Ralph, and Rick Pitino, a couple of Long Island guys who coached together at Kentucky, Louisville, and with the Knicks. Rick hired young Kevin as an assistant on his Celtics staff shortly after he graduated from Pitt. After 4 years together in Boston, Pitino brought Willard with him to Louisville, spent 6 seasons there before taking the head coaching job at Iona. Teacher has gotten the better of students 6 of the 7 times they've gone head-to-head, with Willard's 1 win coming in 2020 when he was at Seton Hall, and Pitino at Iona. Well, it's just a special relationship, and you can see the love and respect that they have for each other. This is family. That's why it's a difficult game for both of them. And, you know, they were both a little tense before the game, leading up to it, rightfully so, because this is beyond the game. It's a long, lifelong relationship. And Kevin Willard said, you know, when he first started coaching under Pitino, he had a head full of hair. And now he's bald.
It happens.
Yeah.
I think I heard you mention in a broadcast earlier this year, you played against Kevin Willard?
I did. Kevin Willard was playing for his dad, Ralph Willard, at Pitt. Kevin Willard was a point guard for Pitt, and I had the chance to battle against him a couple times. Very good player, and went on to excel on the coaching side now.
Caden Lewis scoops in. Battled for, rebound to Mitchell.
This is when St. John's is dangerous. They can get numbers.
Deep 3. In and outs. Mitchell with a rebound. Try another 3. That one misses as well. Brennan another board.
St. John's getting plenty of possessions, unable to connect on a lot of these open shots, but
Lewis could have gone all the way in, but drops it off. Good idea because Palmer cashes in.
So Lewis, great job by Askew, lurking in the backcourt. St. John's unaware. And that's that heads-up savvy play of Askew, making a big play on the defensive end.
And one of the differences in the early going is the shooting from distance here. Villanova is 3 out of 5. St. John's hasn't made one yet.
And everything coming off the pass. This is why Villanova is so tough to guard, because they move the ball so well. And when you got a point guard like Lewis, who delivers it right on time, it's hard to stop when they get things going.
Askew kicks it out. Another one from Long. And another rebound for Mitchell. Active already on the glass.
So far, Villanova doing a solid job defensively, mixing things up and trying to protect that paint. That is the key thing for St. John's. They want to get that ball down low.
Jackson got all the way home.
Well, he's done a good job early on. Jackson getting downhill, attacking off the bounce. And he's got to continue to do that to loosen up this defense and create some scoring opportunities for his guards.
We talked about Villanova shooting it from distance. Johnny's had 10 points in the paint. Lewis, that got him a couple of free throws.
Well, this is why, man, Lewis is so hard to guard, because he reads the defense so well. He can go both sides. He's got a little scuffle here. Nothing major. Looks like John Gaffney called there. Okay, nothing called, but
enough to get Rick Pitino on the court?
Yeah. We're going back to Lewis, the point guard. You know, he's one of the best freshman point guards in the league, if not in the country. And because he can change speed so well and read the defense, great job there. A little bit of contact.
And that's the foul against Bryce Hopkins. He is the 1A to Ejiofor's 1 in the paint for St. John's. And Caden Lewis, and sometimes you'll see a freshman, especially a true freshman, kind of grow into his role. He's had the keys to the car since day one.
Well, Kevin Willard trusts him, and that's rare for a coach like Kevin Willard to trust a freshman, give him the ball from day one, and say, look, run the show. I'm going to give you the freedom to create and also rein you in when I need to. They watch a lot of film together. They talk a lot about the game. He's a very quick learner, very coachable. Kevin Willard said the two things is he's very coachable and he's very humble. And he wants to get better. And you can see it because he's always in the gym working on his game.
Five-star recruit initially committed to Kentucky before making his way to Villanova.
St. John's has not gotten Ejiofor involved much yet, but that is not something that St. John's is unaware of. They're still trying to figure out this mixed-up defense of Villanova. Right now they're in the zone.
Shot clock to 4. Ejiofor, not the shot they want him to take, but if he's going to make it from 3, they'll say go ahead.
Well, you know, when they dare him to shoot it, he's going to shoot it because he has confidence in it, and you're right, it's not his game. His game is more in the paint.
Lewis has been quick to the bucket with a right hand that time.
Well, I said it before in an earlier game this season. He's really a right-handed player. He just goes left because he shoots with his left hand, but he's so hard to guard because he can finish with either hand.
Well, that's back-to-back buckets, 1 from 3, 1 from inside for Ejiofor.
Best way to break the press is get it in the middle and get it to your best player. Ejiofor does a great job of attacking the basket. Spacing so important to Villanova. That's why they're so good at getting those angles. They've got great spacing, passing and cutting, and great movement.
Shot clock now down to 9, another open.
Got to get back. Defensive transition, very important in this game. Well, it starts with the double team. And usually Ejiofor handles the double, but that was a great job of trapping Ejiofor, causing a turnover. Villanova scoring off their defense.
Stanford with his first bucket tonight. Lewis already has 3 helpers.
John's a little sloppy with their passing.
To the baseline, up. And in.
What happens again? Give and go action between Ejiofor and Mitchell. Attacking the paint. Red Storm tie it up. We got a good one here in Philly. Red Storm at the Wildcats home, tied up.
Take a look at the Big East standings. UConn won today, barely 2 points over Georgetown. They remain unbeaten. Then you find our 2 teams, Villanova and St. John's. They both won 5 out of 6 in conference play. The standings would say these are the next best teams after UConn. Do you believe that's true?
I think we're going to find out after tonight. I don't think this determines everything, just this game, but the way the league is shaping up, there's no doubt UConn is at the top. And then after that, I think Villanova and St. John's certainly have earned that respect of gaining that second spot. And you know, both 5-1. The way that both teams have been playing, they're both peaking. They're both getting better. They've gotten better than they were a month ago. And I think this Villanova team, although they're a little bit younger, they start 2 freshmen, sophomore, they are improving quickly. And I think if you ask Kevin Willard, he's
been big on the glass, averages 6 rebounds per outing. He already has 5 tonight and just completed that 3-point play.
Yeah, he's done a great job of cutting off the ball and being an athlete. That's why he's kind of that Swiss Army knife for this Red Storm team. Brings a lot to the table.
Lewis with a quick 3 assists. Gives it up to Perkins. Draws the foul. He says he's shooting. The foul's against Jackson.
And Perkins drew the foul, and he will go to the line for 3. And this young man has got a great shot fake. One of the best shot fakes I've seen. And you've got to respect his shot because he's such a good shooter. But just a heads-up play. He got Jackson in the air and went straight up and drew the contact.
And he gets to shoot the 3, makes the first, and he's kind of a rarity right now, Tariq, because new coaches come in. A lot of times these players will leave. He's the one who stayed, and that decision to stay and play for Kevin Willard instead of go somewhere else is off to a pretty good start.
He really is. He's a gym rat. He's always in the gym, always looking to get better. My brother had a chance to coach him in high school at Landon. And I got the chance to meet his dad, Rory Perkins, who was a math teacher at Landon High School and was a basketball coach as well. And he said Perkins decided when he was in the 8th grade that he wanted to play basketball over football. And his dad said, you got to put the work in and do all the little things. And he's done that, made himself into a really good player.
He's got a quick 8 points. And thinking about offense, St. John started 4 for 10, but they have made their last 4 shots.
Here's that zone again. St. John's trying to play through the middle. And so far, they've been playing through Mitchell, who's been the catalyst for the Red Storm. Very aggressive around the basket.
Nice job by Prey there. He caught that and found Mitchell, and Prey has been playing a little more and more as the Big East is going on.
Yeah, well, you know, when you're playing against the zone, you want to attack that paint and get it into that high post area. Ruben Prey, an improved passer, and that high-low action is something that St. John's works a lot on in practice. Mitchell's got great hands and very good around the rim.
Sunday night, Rams against Caleb Williams and the Bears in Chicago. Great one coming up tomorrow. NFL divisional round Sunday, 6 o'clock Eastern on NBC and Peacock. Mitchell off to a heck of a start here in Philadelphia tonight. Big on the glass and also scoring. And Hodge just threw that one away. It'll stay here with St. John's.
And that was Sandin with the ball pressure. He denied the ball in to Askew. John's relentless with that full court pressure. Their goal is to trap that first pass and force a turnover as they did there.
Well, St. John's in their 3 consecutive wins. They've shot 50% or better in all 3 of those wins. And off to that kind of start tonight, they've made 8 out of 14. Before Mitchell could get it in, another foul called against Villanova.
Call that on Palmer with the holds.
Not even to the halfway point. 2 more fouls and St. John's will be shooting the bonus. It is the team that gets to the free throw line more than any other in the Big East. Mitchell looking, and up top finds Prey. He'll take it himself. Tripped up on the way to the basket.
That's a heads-up play. Good job by Prey attacking the basket. And Prey, not a guy you think of as, you know, instant offense, but he reads the game. He's an improved offensive player. And he had an open space to drive it and attack the basket. Didn't settle for the jump shot.
That's against Duke Brennan, his first. St. John's has made all 5 free throws now as they take the lead. Been in chase mode much of this first half as Villanova's off to a good shooting start too.
Yeah, both teams off to strong offensive starts, and as you can sense, both teams are still filling each other out. St. John's has a little more depth, I think. But this Villanova team has a potent top 7 if you include Palmer and Askew, who played great the last couple games.
And right into this full court press, which has been giving them a hard time.
Yeah, they're having trouble getting the ball in bounds. And if you're Villanova, you got to cut a little harder, maybe a little more movement between Palmer, Lindsey, and Lewis.
And you've got 6'8" guarding the ball here also.
This is Rick Pitino basketball. They want to cause frustration, cause confusion, and tire you out with their pressure.
They're doing exactly that so far. Hodge checks back in. Palmer goes to the bench. And they're going to inbound the ball now with their point guard.
And he has the ability to find the open man quickly and get them into their offense.
Villanova and St. John's having won 5 out of 6 to start conference play. Hodge will bring it up. There he finds Lewis.
There's that high ball screen action that they love with Lewis.
He's been getting in the lane a lot tonight. Fade away, no good. Brennan couldn't bring it in. Prey can.
Good defensive possession, a good contest, and a good block out by Prey. St. John's starting to settle down with their defense.
So Mitchell can kind of act as a point guard as well.
Yes, he's a Swiss Army guy. He can play the point from like a point forward position.
Sandin pull up, rebound Lewis. Lindsey up top, Good defense from Prey.
Read that perfectly, and Prey is giving them some good minutes off the bench. Rick Pitino feels really good about his depth at the 5 spot.
Sellers almost picked off by Lewis. Sand into the lane, they let him be, elevates, and the rebound Lewis. Up ahead to Lindsay. Villanova's offense has slowed down a little bit since that hot start.
Coming a half-court game, very little transition opportunities here.
Hodge drew the contact, and he'll shoot 2.
Nice job by Hodge attacking off the bounce. This is a young man that's made a big jump.
Foul against Ruben Prey, that's his first.
Mitchell tried to close out, and Hodge did a great job of attacking his feet. A young man from Belgium playing big minutes as a starter.
Try to get Hodge on the board. Maybe it's a coincidence, but when he does hit double figures, Villanova 10-0 in those situations this year. Hopkins checks back in.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a coincidence, actually. I mean, he's a big part of their offense, and he's a guy that they asked to do a lot. Score the ball, rebound. He's a pretty good passer.
Got the friendly roll that time. Villanova down 1. Dylan Darling has checked in for St. John's, getting more and more minutes, where they quickly get it up the court, and a quick fire as well. And that's knocked down by Ibeen Ayo.
When Ibeen Ayo makes a shot, it's gravy. He's not in there to score the ball. He's in there to be a defender and a guy that can move the ball and rebound.
Boy, a deep early 3 from Lindsay missed. And a rebound to Prey. Darling wants to push. Got it inside. They had the mismatch with Lindsay guarding Hopkins.
2 things jump out. Prey is doing a great job of entering the ball down low because there's no ball pressure on him. And then Hopkins, great job sealing his man and giving himself some base to catch that ball over the top of the defense and make a play.
Well, they will take Lindsay at 6'3" with that matchup if you're a St. John's fan against Hopkins, who's 6'7" every time.
Absolutely. It's just good recognition by St. John's with the mismatch. You want to get the ball inside to your top guy.
Hopkins, 75% free throw shooter, misses the first there. And the rebound, Palmer. Askew was hot in the last game with 20 points, has been quiet so far tonight.
You see the attention Askew draws because of his shooting ability.
Tough shot, the runner won't go, and the rebound, St. John's.
St. John's doing a really good job defensively.
Hopkins spinning to the lane and scoring.
Wow. That's Bryce Hopkins pre-injury right there. The explosiveness, the burst, and the finish.
St. John's has been the best team offensively these last few moments to take a 5-point lead.
Good help side defense there by Darling, getting in the gap.
Askew guarded by Darling. Shot clock down to 5. No whistle. There's a whistle. That time against Prey.
Another heads-up play by Askew. Bryce Hopkins letting people know that he's still got it. In the open court, he's hard to stop. Spinning and finishing. St. John's up 5.
Back and forth we have gone here in Philadelphia inside of 8 minutes. St. John's leading Villanova by 5. That's their largest lead. Villanova's largest lead has been 4. We've already been tied 6 times. We've already had 7 lead changes. And hopefully it's more the same moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what we expected. You know, 2 teams that are playing with a sense of urgency and a sense of, you know, we know what this is, what's at stake here. Both teams 5-1, trying to figure out, you know, how good they are. This is kind of one of those games, like a barometer, to see how good are you and how good can you be. And, you know, Villanova, they are still trying to kind of get their guards to dominate the game and control tempo. St. John's has done most of their damage in the paint in terms of their bigs, Mitchell, and obviously Ruben Prey as well. Ejiofor back in the game now. He'll get going as well.
Askew knocks it down. Villanova been a pleasant surprise so far, the early going in the Big East. It's a team that has a revamped roster, brand new head coach in Kevin Willard. Picked to finish 7th preseason in the Big East. And as we've been talking about, 2nd place right now, winning 5 out of 6. And a lot of curiosity You see here tonight just how good are they? Are they as good as that record would indicate?
Ejiofor back in the game. Expect him to get some touches. He's been quiet to start.
Their leading scorer. Been real quiet offensively. Sellers strong move inside.
They're going to call that off of St. John's. Sellers doing a good job of getting in that paint, but unable to finish there.
Well, they've had a hard time getting the ball in. They find Askew that time. St. John's full court pressure taking its toll.
Well, that's the whole point. It's not necessarily to steal the ball or turn them over, but just to wear you down and take you out of your rhythm when you're in the half court.
Done a nice job of limiting threes here recently. Lewis now got to think about the clock. Down to 5. Deep three. That's off. Brennan got his hands on it. Got it back and in.
It looked like St. John's paused because they thought a foul was going to be called, but Brennan didn't stop. He kept attacking. That's what makes him such a great player. He's relentless on the glass, particularly on the offensive end. You got to put a body on him.
Good look inside. Great feed. The extra pass frees up Ejiofor.
Well, great interior passing and a nice cut by Ejiofor, who does a great job of finding that open gap. And when St. John's can get that kind of ball movement and shift the defense, it usually leads to a higher percentage shot.
Villanova had scored the last 4 points until that dunk from Ejiofor. We'll see if that gets him going offensively.
He doesn't need much to get going.
Askew draws the foul on the way to the basket. Goes against Dylan Darling, his first.
Watch Zuby here, just great job with the ball movement and his power, explosiveness. Pretty hard to stop it when he gets the ball with that kind of rhythm.
How about Devin Askew? Kind of a snapshot of what we see around campuses right now in college basketball. This is his 128th game, 6th year of college basketball, and his 5th different team. He averaged 20 points per game last year at Long Beach State.
Yeah, he's seen it all. I mean, he's been through so much different experiences, highs and lows. He's had some injuries. He's healthy now, and he has given them a huge spark. He's a 6th starter on this team. He plays starters minutes, and he is the elder statesman of this team and one of the captains.
Mitchell is checked back in. 7 points already for St. John's. Ties in with Jackson for the team high. Ejiofor back to Hopkins. Little jumper.
Hopkins looks good. He's in a nice rhythm. He's playing within himself, but he's playing aggressive. In the past few games, he's waited until the second half to get going. Tonight, he's doing it in the first half.
Askew has been aggressive, had it blocked that time. Sellers got a hand on it.
Great job by Sellers. He's got good size at 6'4", good anticipation.
St. John's up 3 there. Had that lead up to as many as 5. Darling, quick move. Threw it out of bounds. He wanted Mitchell there on the baseline.
Yeah, too crowded in there to make that pass. Darling just forced that bounce pass in there. One of the few turnovers for the Red Storm tonight. Rick Pitino using his bench, trying to keep guys fresh. Villanova doesn't play as many guys, plays 7 guys usually if you include Palmer and Askew coming off the bench.
Perkins with it, has a team high 8 points. He had 15 in the win on Tuesday night.
You know, St. John's likes to extend that ball pressure.
There he finds Brennan. Lost control.
Great job by Ejiofor tagging and rotating. He kind of surprised Brennan by rotating. He was right in the right spot.
Villanova 1 for their last 8. St. John's been finding good shots recently. Ejiofor, Hopkins, there's another. Ejiofor fights for it, couldn't come up with it. Stays here with St. John's.
Ejiofor going for that offensive rebound. He draws so many bodies that he caused that possession to come back to the Red Storm because of his effort. It's not always the times he gets the ball, but it's the attention he draws when he's under the rim.
Has piled up 7 points. Perkins goes to the bench. Darling looking. Finds Hopkins up top. Still time, shot clock at 11. To get it to Ejiofor. Now they got to go. Shot clock down to 3. Sellers. Little pull up. Oh, and the roll for Ejiofor.
Wow. You're talking about timing. He barely got that off. Great job by Villanova, actually, defensively, other than the shot. Zuby starting to heat up. 9 points now.
Hodge inside to Brennan.
Great
He was
job by
affected. Ejiofor had a lot to do with that miss. Up ahead to Mitchell. St. John's shooting almost 60%. Hopkins misfire. Brennan rebound.
Villanova doesn't really push it too much. Here's a turnover. Great job by Mitchell with the deflection.
St. John's with a chance to take their biggest lead now. Darling back to Mitchell. Turned it over. Here comes Luke. I believe the foul goes against Matt Hodge. Good look at Philadelphia. 33-28, St. John's on top.
I'm Ahmed Fareed. Coming up on the Jeep Halftime Report, Matt McCall in studio with a closer look at how important Zuby Ejiofor is for the St. John's offense, plus the 2 ranked teams in the Big East. We got UConn, Seton Hall having to fight in the second half of their games. We got highlights from earlier in the day coming up at the half. Paul?
Ahmed, thank you. Indiana, Michigan, and then jump over to the Big 12 for Texas Tech and Baylor, and back to the Big 10 for the Boilermakers and the Bruins. Another tough one for UCLA today at Ohio State. Well, both teams have taken their turn being on top here tonight, being out in the lead. Villanova was for quite a while early, but it's been St. John's who's been in control recently.
Yeah, and it's been the big 3. It's been Ejiofor, Mitchell, and Hopkins. Those 3 I call them the big 3 because that is their front line, and that's been their new starting lineup the last 4 games, and it's been working. They're shooting 50%, over 50% the last 3 games because they're playing through the paint. They're playing through Ejiofor. And, you know, Rick Pitino said something interesting. He said, after the Kentucky loss, our team had a revelation, and they realized that, hey, we got to throw the ball to Zuby more. And he said the biggest difference between this year's team and last year's team is that last year's team threw the ball to Zuby a lot more than this year's team, and now this team is starting to do that, playing through the paint. And Mitchell's a big part of that.
And with that made free throw, you talk about the big 3, and this is the 4th consecutive game they've started.
Story right there. I mean, a lot of game left, a lot of time left, but you can see the impact that those 3 have and why that combination is working with those.
Make this press, and yes, they will. Let's see if they can get it going now from 3. Kind of their signature on offense, but they're 0 for 4 since 13:45 left here in this first half.
Well, a lot of that has to do with St. John's ball pressure. They're in the gap. They got good help side defense. And
that's a tough 3 from Askew. Oh, rains it down through.
Well, they needed that. They certainly needed a big shot, and Askew has that big shot making ability.
Come back here, give him credit for causing that turnover. Nothing but net.
Off the pass of Lewis again, and Lewis does a great job of getting in that gap. And when the defense cheats over just a little bit, with Askew's quick release, that's all you need. I believe that's Lewis's 4th assist. Controlling tempo with his passing.
He's had 8 in each of the last 2 games, averages a little over 5, which makes him 2nd best in that category in the Big East. Little one-on-one there. Darling was there for it. Excellent defense.
Great job. Darling sat down in the stance and didn't get beat off the dribble. Lost control, caused Lewis to lose control of the ball. That's why Darling is in the game, to be a pit bull defensively, pressure the ball, and be disruptive. And he is certainly up for the task tonight versus a very good point guard in Lewis.
Big Sky Player of the Year last year at Idaho State. It didn't have a lot of points in the last game, but Rick Pitino spent a good amount of time in the postgame after the win talking about all he brought to the team when he was out there.
Well, he really loves this young man. It's not just his game, but it's his spirit. It's his work ethic. And you know, earlier in the season, he was really struggling. And after the Iona game, Rick Pitino pulled him to the side and said, we're going to work on getting more arch from your shot and getting more mechanics in your shot. And since then, he's been shooting 52% from three, leading the Big East.
70% free throw shooter, missed both of them there. Door open for Villanova to get closer now inside of 3 minutes until halftime. Lindsay.
Lewis doesn't want to shoot the three. He's more of a dribble, a driver,
He's got
a creator.
Get the big fella on him. Shot clock down to 7. Boy, he spots an open man. Palmer misfires, and the rebound to St. John's. Ibeen Ayo had the earlier bucket with that board.
And be careful with Lewis drop defending the ball. Very good, quick hands on the defensive end.
Ejiofor back to Mitchell. Gives it right back to him. Sellers has been quiet. Ejiofor strong to the lane, scoops it up. Rebound Askew.
Well defended by the Wildcats.
Lewis, bounce pass, Brennan. Lost control at the top, with the whistle called late. And he'll shoot 2.
Brennan did a great job of running straight to the rim.
Foul goes against Sellers, his second.
Defensive transition was not there for the Red Storm, but Lewis head always up, always looking for his teammates. That's a sign of a great point guard and a great job by Brennan running the floor hard.
Only 56% from the line. And the lead remains 4.
Yeah, that's one of the few weaknesses of Brennan, if you want to call it that.
He's got 6 rebounds already to go along with his 4 points, and you saw the big number that he averages just inside of 11 rebounds per game. Second in the Big East. Been doing some real work on the offensive glass. And makes 1 out of 2 free throws.
You notice Villanova doesn't line anyone up on the foul shots. They have everyone back so they can set up their defense.
Darling getting closer. Sannon. Hopkins been a big part of the big 3 here tonight. Gets to the basket, and the defense from Palmer.
Great job by Palmer. Rotating.
A 3 would tie. Lindsay. There's the shot. Rebound. And another one inside. That one to Hopkins. Foul against him. That's Malachi Palmer. Second against him. So Villanova threes. They started out at 60%, but ever since, just 1 out of 7. This is the team that came in number 1 in the Big East in that category.
What Villanova's trying to do is they're trying to get you to put 2 guys on the ball and have someone wide open. And St. John's done a pretty good job of not cheating, not helping off of shooters, and being in the gap defensively and just containing the ball. And as it starts there, you got to contain the ball, particularly Lewis, who is so dynamic and, you know, his playmaking ability.
St. John's made 87% of their free throws in their last win on Tuesday night. And that miss means they are 9 out of 13 this evening. We hit the 1-minute mark with the Johnnies on top of the Wildcats by 4. Villanova has led by as many as 4, but that was much earlier in this first half. St. John's has been in control with that lead up to as many as 5.
St. John's continues to play that switching
Askew.
man-to-man defense. Askew. So good at recognizing the defender. At that time, Ejiofor had his. Rick Pitino needs a timeout.
Timeout call by St. John's. Both sides will talk it over. 31 seconds till the break. St. John's now leads by only 1. So Rick Pitino called that timeout. 32 seconds left here, a little over 32. They lead by 1. He had time to draw something up here. Who do you think he might be looking for?
Well, I mean, what's working for St. John's is they've been doing a good job of playing through the paint. They haven't taken a lot of threes. And right now with the lineup, they've got 2 guys that can shoot it with lefty Leopopoulos and Jozon Sannon. But the strength of their game so far tonight has been through Hopkins, Ejiofor, and Mitchell around the basket, driving through the paint. Villanova in that 2-3 again. They're going to try to make St. John's a perimeter team here.
Leopopoulos checked in. He's in trouble.
Shot clock winding down.
1 second left. Ejiofor missed Askew.
Great job, Villanova, defensively. Now they can hold for 1 shot.
We've got 7 lead changes. Might we have 8? Short. Put back is no. Almost a yes. Quite a first half here in Philadelphia. St. John's on top of Kevin Willard's Wildcats by 1.
Close game, Big East battle as we expected. St. John's up 1.
Our score at the half, St. John's 36, Villanova 35. Right after the break, we'll send you to the Jeep halftime report with Ahmed and Matt.
Welcome to the Jeep Half.
Figured it might go this way. 6 ties, 7 lead changes. Tyler Perkins for 3. He's got 8 points for Villanova. You know the offense goes through Zuby Ejiofor. 9 points for him. St. John's up by 1 on the road in Philadelphia. Welcome to the Jeep halftime report. Ahmed Fareed here with Coach Matt McCall. So we build this as a deciding game for the number 2 team in the Big East right now behind UConn.
Lived up to it.
Well, first half, what did it tell you?
It's lived up to it.
Yeah?
So there's 2 teams right behind UConn fighting for second place.
Are we any closer to determining who that second-best team is?
St. John's has really played much better basketball coming out of that loss to Providence. When you look like they've done, over these last several games coming out of that loss, especially Bryce Hopkins. I mean, he had that explosive play in the first half where he finished at the rim. We haven't seen that out of him in a while, and we challenged. I'm sure he got challenged coming out of that Providence game on both ends of the floor. Lewis for Villanova's got to do a much better job taking care of the basketball. He has 4 turnovers in the first half. But can we say enough about Zuby Ejiofor and what he does so much for this St. John's team? He's their 5-man, and they're running offense through him. You can see here the floor is completely spaced. He surveys the floor, drops off the great pass to Jackson. Leads this team in assists at the 5 spot. Very rarely do you see that. Here he is again, surveying the floor. Not a ton going on offensively. Pops out to the perimeter, knocks it down from behind the 3-point line. How about this versus the press? In the middle of the press, normally you want your best decision maker, your best ball handler, and your best passer in that spot in the middle of the floor. What a play. Even the Euro step there coming down against the pressure at the end.
Well, that has been the knock against St. John's. They don't have a true point guard. Does he fill that role enough for them?
Well, he fills that role, and I think Coach Pitino, who's one of the best to ever do it, did a great job of making that adjustment throughout the course of this season. Hey, let's just play through him. We're playing through our 4-man. We're playing through our 5 because they're the 2 best decision makers on our team.
Is there anything that Villanova can do where they shoot 36% in the first half to get that offense going?
I thought they had some good possessions offensively where the ball changed sides of the floor. That's where they're at their best. But St. John's switching is causing them to be stagnant. They need to get to some more slip actions. We did see Askew, again, off the switch. Zuby Ejiofor, you'll see here. His man runs up there to set this pick and roll. Got a little double action. You get the switch. Now he's got to have his heels above the 3-point line in that situation. Askew knocks it down from behind the 3. But for the most part in the first half, switching 1 through 5 has really helped St. John's defense. And Zuby Ejiofor, we saw some great possessions of him also walling up, not giving up easy baskets. We'll see if Villanova can get some more movement, maybe get some drives down the lane.
Exactly. That possession by Villanova was right there at the end of the first half. So interesting if they found something out there that they can use in the second half, which is still to come. Other Big East teams in action. UConn, speaking of close at the end, this one was taking on Georgetown. Pick it up. 8 minutes to go in the game. You see it's already a tight game. Solo ball will transition off the turnover.
Yeah, this was not UConn's best performance on the offensive end of the floor. They go 5 for 26 and shoot 19% from the three-point line, Ahmed. But listen, it's all about this time of the year. It's not going to go well, especially on the road throughout different times of the season once you get to conference play. And what do you have to do? You have to find a way to win the game. And this guy was absolutely terrific. You see there, Caravan knocking it down, but his teammate, Reed, the big fella, 15 and 11. UConn finds a way to get the dub. Tough finish.
Solo ball with a floater there. 4 UConn players finishing double figures. Their 11th straight win over Georgetown. Yeah, despite shooting just 19% from three-point range, still getting the win, though, 18-1 on the season. We got to take a break. Who is it?
Arizona.
Oh, okay. Well, it does not get any easy. If they could knock off 2 and then 1.
Let's go.
How would that be? All right, Jeep first half stats from this one. 1 point separates St. John's and Villanova. Our team with Paul and Tariq with the second half next.
This has been the Jeep Halftime Report.
Crowd was treated to a very good first half. We had 6 ties. We're ready for the second half with St. John's leading Villanova by 1. Thanks for coming back with us. Paul Burmeister alongside Tariq Tucker. And the biggest reason, why would you say the number one reason that St. John's is by 1, ready for the second half?
It's the big three, Ejiofor, Bryce Hopkins, and Mitchell. Those 3 combined scored 25. They're very good at attacking the glass, the athleticism, the interior passing, and that's how Rick Pitino has built this team to play through the paint. They're attacking the basket, and those 3 have been the main catalyst. They've got to do that again because it's a close game, and Villanova's not going away.
25 points, 10 rebounds, and they're making over half of their shots. The big 3 coming through. We're excited for the second half here. Paul Burmeister alongside Tariq Turner. Love the first half, and see what is in store here in the second half after 7 lead changes. The first 20 minutes, the guy standing right in front of us, Dylan Mitchell, didn't miss in the first half for St. John's, has 9 points and 7 rebounds to lead the effort that way.
And he got them going, and this St. John's team didn't shoot many threes, only made 1. Conversely, Villanova made 5. So 2 different styles here. Guard play driving the Wildcats, and the interior post guys driving the Red Storm.
Kind of the way you set it up at the top of the show. Jackson all the way in. He did that early also.
He did, and he almost picked up his 3rd foul with a push-off, but a great job. Jackson has scored 3 baskets tonight, all driving downhill, getting into the paint.
Ejiofor got a hand on it, dives to the ground, and we'll see who they give it to.
What a hustle play by Ejiofor.
Wow.
It's the little things like that that separate him. It's his effort plays, his motor. He just goes for every loose ball. That's the kind of play that can fire your team up. He did a similar play like that in their last game versus Marquette, where he chased down a loose ball, recovered it, and dunked it.
And that's the guy who leads your team in points, rebounds, blocks, assists, and steals.
How about this? He's in the top 5 in scoring, rebounds, blocks, and made foul shots in the league. And he is on pace to be player of the year the way he's been playing.
Caden Lewis, game high, 4 assists in that first half. Perkins, a quick 3, in and out. And pushed in the back was Brennan. So we'll stay here with Villanova. I think that's going to go against Hopkins.
Similar to Ejiofor, Brennan, when the ball goes up, he is so good at attacking the glass. You watch him fight for position. He had inside position, and Bryce Hopkins with the push off in the back.
Yeah, Tariq, that was his first foul of the game. Askew made both the 3s he took in the first half. The leading scorer for Villanova. Hesitation got him to the lane. Back out to Perkins. 3 to shoot. Did get it off.
I'll tell you one thing. Perkins is a good player, but against Ejiofor, it's going to be very tough to get a good, clean shot. That was a great job by Ejiofor, playing vertical, keeping his hands up high, and affecting that shot.
So Mitchell playing point guard. He's one of the 3 bigs, but routinely brings the ball up the court. Had that 9-point, 7-rebound effort in the first half. Jackson to Ejiofor. Well defended, Brennan rebound.
Nice job going up vertical. So both bigs going up vertical to protect that shot. Brennan doing it defensively down that play.
Got all the way to the basket, missed it though. Lewis from point-blank range. Back comes Jackson. Had a bucket already, now has two.
Ian Jackson, no one stopping the ball, and he is taking advantage of the defense by getting to the basket with that driving action by him. Action Jackson making it happen in the paint.
St. John's led by as many as 7 at one point in the first half. Now after leading by 1 at halftime, it built it back to 5. Askew to fade away, and he stays hot. Just underway here in the second half. St. John's still has the lead, now by 3.
Well, when you talk about Zuby Ejiofor, people think about the scoring and all the highlights, but defensively, there's nobody better. He's such a good help side defender. He blocks shots, he gets the steals, but he rotates great. He's always in the right spot, and he makes up for a lot of breakdowns on the perimeter because he's such a great job of using his hands and connecting each other with his anticipation and his communication. Very good talker in the back line. It helps out your guards because you know where you're going to get the help.
Good example right there why they have held Brennan to 5 points, but Brennan does have a game-high 9 rebounds, almost to his season average of 11, which is second best in the Big East.
This game is nip and tuck here. Both teams trying to get a little momentum, but every time one team makes a play, the other team has an answer. Great back and forth Big East matchup.
Mitchell with the ball right now. He and Jackson have combined for 20 points together. Neither one of them has missed a shot. Jackson pulls up. That's his first miss. What a rebound for Hopkins. And back in. More work to do.
Hopkins refused to be blocked out. First one up when the shot came off the rim. And this is a young man who is starting to come into his own and impacting the game on the glass is one way he can do it. Got inside position, refused to be denied.
Well, that was strong to give him 9 points. He's in double figures.
Bryce Hopkins playing good basketball. The last 2 games he's been shooting 57% from the field because he's taking high percentage shots and playing through the paint.
Lewis, always looking pass first. Lindsey, their top scorer coming into the game.
Lindsey's been quiet.
Yes, he has.
He really hasn't even been aggressive.
Hasn't scored. Good look to Brennan, and he's got 2.
Great job by Lewis. Seeing Brennan, who had his man sealed.
Ejiofor, Hopkins. Kick it back out to Jackson, who's having himself a night, already at his average of 11 points.
Ejiofor wants the ball.
Hopkins to the basket, fouled. And that was a mismatch with the smaller Lewis on him.
And that's one thing St. John's has done a good job of exploiting mismatches. And Hopkins, one of the better guys to put the ball on the floor, very good using that first step and driving the ball hard. 6'7", strong, can take that contact.
Third foul against Caden Lewis. That's their point guard. And it's awfully early in this second half. We'll see if they leave him in. I don't see any movement on the bench yet.
No, but that's something to keep an eye on. And one thing you worry about with Villanova is they don't have the deepest team, and Lewis is such a big part of their team. So be interested to see if Rick Pitino tries to involve Lewis defensively. It's a ball screen action to try to get him to pick up his 4th.
Hopkins now with the St. John's High 12 points as they push the lead back up to 6. Lewis in with those 3 fouls. Lindsey averages 15, hasn't scored yet. Turns it over. Jackson has been strong to the basket today. Not that time. That's off of Hodge, and it will stay with the Johnnies.
Well, the thing I like about Jackson is he's not settling. He is attacking off the bounce, and no one's been able to really stay in front of him. He's got to keep that up.
Mitchell looking. Ends up in the hands of Sellers. Back to Ejiofor. to Jackson. Got to think about getting one off. Down to 5. Sellers, pull up. Tough to defend that.
Well, they're just clicking right now. They're playing off of each other. The ball is moving. Sellers very good at catching and making something happen off the bounce. And Villanova has not been able to stay in front of their guards of St. John's in these last couple minutes.
St. John's 3 consecutive wins coming in now with their largest lead of 8 points.
Villanova getting into their offense a little bit too slow here.
One-on-one there didn't work. Good defense from St. John's. Hopkins once again stepping up. Jackson having himself a night. 2 more.
Jackson with that little decel move. That's a popular NBA move that Luka Doncic uses a lot. Kevin Willard needs a timeout.
First double-digit lead for either side tonight. St. John's by 10.
Action Jackson from the Bronx. Attacking the rim is how he's doing his work.
Jeep, there's only one. 10-year anniversary of Chris Jenkins' buzzer beater to win the national title for Villanova. One of the greatest shots in college basketball history. The 2016 championship team recognized at halftime tonight with a special video tribute. It's alumni night, so of course, Jay Wright had to be here. A couple of national championships with him as the head coach. They certainly have taken a step back since he left, but a lot of people encourage that they are again moving in the right direction under Kevin Willard, coming in tonight at 14-3.
Well, GQJ and that man right there, Kevin Willard, would not have taken this job if he didn't get the blessing of Jay Wright. He called Jay Wright and said, hey, I'm thinking about taking this job. What do you think? And Jay Wright said, you'd be perfect for it. I absolutely support you and will do everything I can to help you. And it's great to see Jay Wright here tonight supporting his beloved program.
And right now they find themselves in their biggest hole, down 10. That's their largest deficit.
It's a big possession for the Wildcats. Going on the drought. Oh, great block.
Ejiofor.
He timed that perfect.
Mitchell. Jackson has been hot tonight. Give him 3.
He's got it going. And if you know anything about Ian Jackson, he's super talented. He plays off of confidence. He's had an up and down season so far, but he's never lost his confidence, and nor has his staff. Here's a steal here.
Look at the hustle, Mitchell.
And the Red Storm like what they see.
Stays with it. Comes back to St. John's for the buckets and the hustle for the red side.
Well, they have consistently pressured the ball and been in the gap on the passing lanes and the deflections, which are so important to St. John's defense.
Jackson with it, game high 16 points. Sought out 19, right back to Hopkins. He gets it again. Puts it back.
Yeah, this is bully ball right now. The Red Storm starting to impose their will in the paint.
Almost had another steal, largest lead at 15, a 14-2 run for St. John's.
Villanova's got to regroup. A lot of time left. First and foremost, they got to take care of the ball. There's another turnover.
Out of bounds.
And that's the thing about full court pressure. It wears you down. It causes you to make mistakes. It causes you to speed up. And St. John's is not going to take that pressure off anytime soon. Villanova's got to figure it out.
Stepped on the gas in the second half at the Garden. Look at that. What a feed to Sellers. Villanova trying to come back. Three-pointer.
Boy, did they need that just to kind of stop the bleeding.
Those 3 consecutive wins, all 3 wins by double digits. Their largest was their last win. Beat Marquette by 24, and they really got that done in the second half. And it's been their best ball tonight as well. Sellers, pull up. He's got a couple buckets in a row.
Well, he does a great job of moving without the ball. When I talked to Rick Pitino about Sellers, his emergence, he said he just knows how to play. He reads the defense. He knows when to curl, when to flare, and get to the open spot. Great job moving without the ball.
Villanova's had a hard time getting into their offensive set. Watch out from the back. Palmer to Brennan. Defense has been suffocating in this half.
Back threes for the Wildcats, and when you have a team as good from three as the Wildcats, you're never totally out of the game.
Defense here, but their offense has been excellent. They've made 6 of their last 8 shots.
Well, they're moving the ball, and you got a guy like Ian Jackson who's been on a heater. He'll go out and catch his breath, but he has been phenomenal. Probably one of the better one-on-one players on this Red Storm team. He's doing it within the team concept and staying aggressive.
Efficient as well. He's made 7 out of his 10 shots. He gets a rest. Ejiofor. Been patient all night. Little pull-up. And a nice bounce there for Ibinayo.
Everybody joining the party now, and Ibinayo has made 2 nice mid-range jumpers tonight off the bench. How about Lindsey? Lindsey's been very quiet, 0 of 3. The ball pressure is certainly taking him out of his game, and he's got very few clean looks.
He hasn't scored. The last 3 games was also in single digits. So his slump continues here. Shot clock now inside of 10.
They won't even let him breathe.
Down to 5. Lindsey, high off the glass. First basket.
Well, good shot by Lindsey, but good defense by Red Storm. They want to run him off the line and make him take tough twos. That certainly was one.
See how easily they've gotten the ball up court tonight?
They have done a good job of making Villanova back into a half-court team defensively. Villanova in his zone here.
Well, wide open is Sellers, and he cashes in.
He's just in a great rhythm, great ball movement, and Villanova just out to their shooters a little bit too slow. Sellers, the best three-point shooter on this Red Storm team at 41% for the year.
This game was 36-35 at halftime.
I just think defensively St. John's has been locked in.
Lewis pushed there at the release by Ibinayo. They get him with the foul.
Zaya Sellers, the 6'5" senior from Hayward, California, playing with confidence, helping his team.
Ellis, make sure you see the sideline. You see the defensive players. Don't go like this with your back. You got to get to the sideline and see the ball so you know how to attack.
Threes, let me take threes. No more, no more.
One of the reasons that makes Coach Pitino a Hall of and showing his guys how to be better. Right there, he's talking about awareness, court awareness, knowing where the defense is so you can be in position to attack. And this thing is, you know, a special thing to watch. When you watch him in practice, you can take notes. And I learned stuff watching him coach every time I'm in practice because he's always teaching a new lesson. These players have embraced him and really feel grateful that they get to learn from by such a great basketball mind.
Second half, they really sprinted by Marquette at the Garden on Tuesday night to win by 24, and that's what they're doing here tonight. Long way to go. It was just a 1-point lead. They get the foul against Ejiofor there. 1-point lead at halftime, but they've outscored them by 15 here in this half.
Perkins again with that patented shot fake. He's the second time he's drawn a foul shooting a three. And Ejiofor is frustrated because Ibinayo was supposed to switch out on Perkins. It was a miscommunication. Perkins going to the line again.
Tonight, don't miss an all-new Saturday Night Live with host Finn Wolfhard and musical guest A$AP Rocky. It's an all-new SNL tonight. Watch it live coast to coast on NBC and Peacock. Perkins connects.
No full court pressure here. It hasn't really bothered St. John's, but similar to St. John's, Villanova is trying to work some clock and disrupt St. John's in their half-court offense rhythm.
Haven't really disrupted them anywhere in this half. St. John's has not turned the ball over since halftime. Meanwhile, Villanova 5 turnovers since the break. Sellers, he's got 9 points since the break. They get it up to Lindsey. Saved it back to Hodge. Lindsey has it again. Nifty 3 points.
This crowd likes what they see. This is a nice run for the Wildcats. A 6-0 run, I believe, here, scoring the last 6 points. Anytime you have a team that shoots the ball like the Wildcats, you're never out of the game. Lindsey, we talked about him being quiet, Paul.
And what a sequence by him. He's out ahead. And right about here, I was wondering if he could track that down. He does. Saves it and gets right back and says, I'll take these 3.
A heads-up pass by Hodge, and Lindsey needed to see that go in.
So let's see if that can stop the bleeding here. They've trailed by as many as 17. This 6-0 run has them back to within 10. And still over half of the second half remaining.
And Rick Pitino called that timeout to settle his team down, take this crowd out of the game.
As soon as that momentum really started to pick up. Jackson back in. He's got 16. Sellers has 9 in this half. Finds Ejiofor, and that's advantage St. John's every time.
Great play. It was a design play. 5 out, 1 in. Featuring Zuby Ejiofor. They had great spacing. And one thing that Ejiofor does a really good job is he seals his man on his backside. He wanted that ball, demanded it, and finished.
You know what's been impressive is that he knows when to go and be aggressive. He rarely forces it.
That's right.
He's got 12 points now. Joins Jackson and Hopkins in double figures for the Red Storm.
And if you're Villanova, Askew has got to be the guy that really creates some tempo.
Hodge had the 3. Askew passed one up as well. Palmer. Lindsey
is so fixated on making these guys run them off the line.
Rebound. Lindsey with a runner, didn't go. Askew, hustle. He'll shoot 2.
Well, it's a numbers game now for St. John's, and they're basically, hey, if you're going to score, it's good.
Askew continues to be the one here for the Wildcats. 12 points. They've been pretty good from the line tonight. With that miss, they're 13 out of 17. So Sellers, with the 3 fouls, checks out.
Askew normally a very good foul shooter at 86% for the season.
He's on a heater these last 3 games. Had 20 points the last game. 3 consecutive in double figures. And once again, St. John's breezes up the court, leading by 12. Now inside of 10 minutes left in the game. Both teams coming in having won 5 out of 6 in the Big East.
Villanova still in that 2-3 zone.
Ejiofor found himself open. Hopkins strong to the lane. In and out. Tipped up. Ejiofor. He got the board and got fouled.
And you know, when St. John's is not making shots, their best offense is offensive rebounding because of this man right here, Ejiofor. You can't block him out. You almost have to face guard him because of his motor. He doesn't stop. He believes that every shot that goes up on the rim is his ball. And you can tell by the way he plays that he's not going to be denied.
Missed the first. 2 fouls against Duke Brennan, the top rebounder for Villanova. St. John's plus 20 on the glass in their 3 consecutive wins combined. They're up 3 there tonight. Ejiofor missed them both.
There's a lot of time for Villanova. They've got to get some ball screen action and try to get Brennan going as well.
Lindsey has 5 in this half, well short on that. Askew back to Perkins. He gets the lane, finds Brennan.
Great job driving, causing that defense to collapse. Brennan, a very good finisher, 5 feet in. St. John's in their 5-out motion. Trying to get a mismatch.
Shannon, Hopkins. Shot clock down to 5. Mitchell, Jackson. Oh, that was nifty. Rebound, Ejiofor.
Guess who gets the offensive rebound again? Number 24. Zuby Ejiofor.
Third foul called against Tyler Perkins, and this scene has repeated itself in this second half. Offensive rebound, Ejiofor to the line.
There's just too much force, too much energy, too much muscle.
Next month, experience the majesty of the Winter Olympics from Northern Italy. Friday, February 6th on NBC and Peacock. Ejiofor, free throws tonight, not good. He's made only 1 out of 4.
He's coming up short on all of them.
1 out of 5. Lead stays at 10. Villanova has trailed by as many as 17 here in the second half. Askew, hesitate. Perkins. 3!
We got a game here, fellas.
Skip pass, Shannon, he fires. They needed that.
Shannon gestures to the crowd to shush. Put his finger up to his mouth to quiet him down. That's the best way to do it on the road, is to make a big shot like that.
He took those big 3 from Perkins right back. Lead back to 10.
St. John's continues to switch 1 through 5.
Askew. They're going to talk about this to see if the shot will go.
Look good to me.
No sign yet. That basket is good.
Great job by Askew, who has been a distributor, a shot maker, and Perkins filling in as well with the long ball. A lot of time left. We'll see what happens.
So the play in question just before the break, Devin Askew taking it to the basket, making the difficult shot. They thought about it, talked about it. Yes, the basket does count. He goes to the line to try to make it a 3-point play.
Yeah, it's the right call, and it's a continuous motion, which is a new point of emphasis in college basketball this year. That's an example of that. He was already going up. He drew the contact, so it's a good call going to the line for the potential 3-point play.
Askew having himself a night after 20 points in the last outing. He's been very good here tonight. Trying to make it 16 points. Averaged 19 points per game at Long Beach State last year. First season here at Villanova. 3-point play it is. Cats crawling back.
And they continue to use that pressure.
Red Storm lead was as many as 17 at the 14-minute mark.
Usually out of a timeout, they run something to get the ball inside. Usually Zuby.
Gotta go. Shot clock down to 5. Jackson, step back 3. Didn't hit the rim. It will come back to Villanova.
Great job defensively by Villanova. That's almost like a forced turnover, an expired shot clock. And now Villanova starting to get a little momentum. Possibly cut this to 5.
Yeah, one of the reasons they've got that momentum, St. John's made just 1 of their last 5. Lindsay better in the second half than the first. Perkins having himself a night. Tough shot.
That kind of night for Perkins. He's been phenomenal with his shot making. We got a 2-possession game now. A lot of time left.
Perkins has 19. Villanova to within 5. Shannon. Stuck in the lane. Finds Hopkins. Sweet move off the glass.
Well, he just kept moving. Bryce Hopkins kept moving until he got a gap. And a great job, great find by Shannon. That was a big-time basket in a difficult moment.
Hopkins looking good with 16 points tonight. Askew. Crossover. Tough shot.
What a job by Ejiofor. This is why he's going to be a pro, because he can guard 1 through 5. He's got quick feet, long arms, and he did a great job of stopping Askew.
Mitchell missed the dunk, but he'll get 2 shots.
You see the explosiveness there by Mitchell. Wow.
Now, he's the guy, when we talked during the week, that you called the Swiss Army knife, can affect the game in many ways.
I mean, he's just an athlete, and to take that ball to the rim and almost dunk it with a foul, not too many players can do that.
3 fouls against Brennan. That's the leading rebounder for Villanova. Mitchell, 58% free throw shooter. Struggles continue. The team that gets to the line more than any in the Big East.
And it feels like St. John should be up 15, but they missed so many foul shots that they have put themselves in a bind, and Villanova trying to take advantage of it.
They were sparkling there on Tuesday nights. Mitchell hits 1 out of 2. Much lesser than here tonight.
Kevin Willard, you continue to find ways to get Perkins the ball.
Perkins calling for it. Feeling it with those 19 points. Lindsay got there. Foul by Ejiofor on the way. Ejiofor thought he had the clean block. That is 3 fouls against Zuby.
Yeah, that's just a good basketball. Good recognition by Lindsay. Nice little hesitation dribble, kind of froze Ejiofor and made him lift up out of his stance briefly, and as soon as he lifted up, Lindsay exploded past him and drew the foul.
They didn't know exactly what they had in Lindsay when he came in from James Madison. He was the 6th man of the year. First one is good in the Sun Belt. And that's translated to a higher scoring average here in the Big East than he had in the Sun Belt.
Well, he's playing in a system of Kevin Willard where there's a lot of motion, a lot of pace and movement. And the way he shoots the ball, he is perfect for this system because he doesn't need a lot of time to get his shot off. He's got great range. He's also a pretty good mid-range guy as well.
7 points, all coming in the second half. They now trail by 6.
St. John's got to continue to attack. And they're going to feature Zuby Ejiofor and keep playing through the paint.
Hopkins hesitates, now goes. Ejiofor, strong board, and 2.
Well, that's what happens when you drive the ball. It causes so much attention to the ball that someone like Ejiofor, who's going for every missed shot, comes right in for another big offensive putback.
14 points, 7 rebounds. Askew's got 16 points tonight, 1-on-1 against Sellers. Now Ejiofor switches. Shot clock to 2. Perkins, nowhere near. How about that defense?
Great stop. They were connected as a 5-team, 5 guys, all connected on the string. And a great closeout by Hopkins, who's played a really good two-way game.
Both teams 1 foul away from the 1-and-1.
St. John, you don't need any quick shots, but you want to stay aggressive.
Happy to be patient right now. Mitchell, there's a wide open 3, knocking it down.
Jozon Shannon hasn't lost his starting spot, but still quite capable of having big nights. One of the better three-point shooters on this Red Storm team. He's giving them a lift off the bench.
Pretty big score at Arizona State last year. Not as much this year, but that was a big shot.
Yes, it was.
Lindsay. Foul called against St. John's there. Goes against Mitchell. Celebrate MLK Day on NBC and Peacock with a full day of basketball. NBA action all day long. Monday on NBC. It's also streaming on Peacock. Good lineup there coming up on Monday in St. John's. Pre-game warm-ups, paying tribute to the late Martin Luther King Jr. and also with a nod to MLK Day coming up on Monday. Wore these shirts during warm-ups. We look forward to a lot of hoops coming up on Monday.
Yeah, it's self-explanatory, and it's so great to see these young men representing some of the words that spoke to MLK's legacy. And a lot of these young men wouldn't be playing tonight if it wasn't for the leadership of MLK and such an important weekend to celebrate what he means, or what he meant and what he means to our society.
Brennan did not get the bounce. He could have used a couple of free throws there. Now inside of 4 minutes and a double-digit deficit.
One thing St. John's has done a really good job of is making the extra pass and not letting the pressure of Villanova bother them.
Edge of 4, saw an opening, and he'll go back to the line. Draws the foul against Brennan. That's 4 against Duke.
Oh, this great read right there by Ejiofor. They're playing off of him because they don't want him to take it to the basket. But you can't give him a wide open angle because he's going to take it hard to the rim like he did there. Good recognition by the senior.
He's done so many things well tonight except shoot free throws. He's 1 for 5. This from someone who shoots over 70% for the season. Has 2 here. Sometimes.
Coach Pitino clapping, trying to encourage him. But everything is front rimming. You want to get it over the front of the rim to give yourself a chance, but he's hit the front rim on his last 5 misses.
Sometimes you just got to see one go.
Yep.
He's up to 15, lead up to 12. Boy, it's been all about Askew and Perkins. They have over half of the Wildcats' points tonight.
Defensively, St. John's has been very good at containing.
Look good from the jump 3 for Lindsay.
And a few looks he's gotten off the ball screen.
Lead back to 9. Now they need some defense.
And they're still in that zone, Villanova.
Hopkins, little out of control, kicks it out to Mitchell. Shot clock to 6. Pull up Sellers, nowhere near. So they just got 3. Now they can get 2. Lindsay gets the foul against Sellers, who thought he had a clean block.
Well, it's a good foul. You want to make him earn it on the stripe. And no court balance, no floor balance there for St. John's in transition. Great job getting the ball up quickly.
2 shots for Lindsay, now 4 fouls against Sellers.
Sellers has got to be careful here.
Lindsay 80% for the season, well short that time. Crucial miss there with 2:38 left.
Okay, St. John's hold on to the lead. We've seen them lose some games previously. They were up double digits multiple times versus Providence, lost that game. Earlier this year they were up versus Iowa State and lost that as well in the second half.
Sandin scooped that one up, finds Jackson.
That high post has been open all night for St. John's.
Edge of 4. To the baskets. Good defense. Matt Hodge got him. Off of Hopkins. Villanova ball.
Yeah, Hodge did a nice job of not letting Ejiofor bully him. Played strong, moved his feet.
A big possession right here. Still
Yes.
over 2 minutes left here. Can cut it to 5 or 6.
I like the fact that the Red Storm is still pressuring full court. Just trying to wear down Villanova. They don't have a lot of depth.
Almost a foul there against St. John's. Lindsay, little one-on-one, kicks it out to Askew. Big corner three.
Great spacing there. And Askew with a much-needed three. Two-possession game.
Timeout called by Rick Pitino. The lead that was once 17 is down to 5. Lindsay gets in deep. Askew pays it off. We've got a game. Villanova's done an excellent job here coming back. They now only trail by 5. What could be said inside that huddle to keep this comeback going?
Well, if you're Villanova, obviously you need to get a stop, and you have to limit St. John's to one shot. A lot of the damage in this second half for St. John's has been on the offensive glass. Zuby Ejiofor, Bryce Hopkins attacking that glass. So you got to stay in front, contest. I'll be curious to see if Villanova stays in that zone. And if they do stay in that zone, they've got to do a better job of containing that high post area where Zuby Ejiofor is so effective getting the ball into that gap.
With as much as St. John's has struggled from the line, they're only 15 out of 25. Do you think about being, I guess, overly aggressive and being okay with a foul early in the possession?
Well, I think if you're St. John's, you want to continue to play through the paint, and you can't play passive here. You're up 5. You put Sellers back in the game, and I like that, even though he's got 4 fouls. And what's working for the Red Storm is paint touches. When they get paint touches, good things happen.
Double team. Jackson with it.
Villanova in man-to-man here.
Jackson, wrap around. Almost threw it away. They got 5 to shoot. Sanin. Well off. Rebound Hodge.
Big stop by the Wildcats. Askew's so good using that ball screen.
Got to the hoop.
Great job by Ejiofor.
Didn't get the roll. The foul against Hodge.
That was a big-time stop right there. Ejiofor took that challenge on and contested beautifully on Askew with the layup.
4 fouls now against Hodge. Would have been pretty bucket there. Didn't quite go. And now it's Hopkins back to the line. Tonight he's 4 out of 6. For the season, 75%.
Bryce has been solid tonight. Chance to extend his lead.
For St. John's, prior to that make, only 50% in the second half. Rick Pitino fired up. 1:04 left. The lead back to 6. Hopkins hits them both. He's got 18 tonight to go along with 6 boards.
As we said, it's been about the big 3. And those aren't the only guys, but those 3, Ejiofor, Hopkins, and Mitchell, have been very, very good.
Perkins racing to the hoop. Got there. Just inside of 1 minute. 5-point lead for St. John's.
That was a broken play, but a great job by Perkins, who's been phenomenal, tying his season high tonight with 21 points. And the officials are going to check the clock here.
Right now showing 58.5, and St. John's up 80-75. Perkins with that bucket ties a season high of 21 points. And some kind of defense being drawn up there by Kevin Willard.
Under review for a timing error.
Okay, you heard that timing error, potential timing error. And Tariq's going to get an explanation here as well. They believe that there should be a second more on the clock.
Yeah, Mike Palau said that it was 59.9 when the ball went through the rim or through the net. So they're just going to readjust that, and they change it to 59.9. Now, St. John's up 5. They're going to be prepared to see some full court pressure. Got to be strong with the ball, anticipate a trap, have a release man, get the ball to the middle, and be prepared to make some foul shots. If you're Villanova, you want to try to get a trap multiple times. Here it is. They're trying to trap the backcourt.
Edge of 4. But they did get in there. Potential steps, nothing called.
Villanova's going to play this straight up. They're not going to foul.
Shot clock down to 7. Hopkins, edge of 4, in tight, converts.
That's the play of the game. The short roll action with Ejiofor in the middle of the court. That should seal the game for the Red Storm. Great execution.
Perkins, saved by Hodge. Was not saved by Villanova. Out of bounds. St. John's ball. Now with a 7-point
Now
lead.
Villanova's got a foul.
Hopkins got away. He's fouled. He's been pretty good from the line tonight. 6 out of 8. His exact average is 75%. That's 5 fouls against Matt Hodge.
We've seen a number of guys step up tonight for the Red Storm. This man right here, Bryce Hopkins, has been fantastic. One of his best games of the season, I'd say. He's been in attack mode the entire game. He's come up with key rebounds, key loose balls. And we keep talking about the big 3. Something tells me they're going to stay with that, Paul. Ejiofor, Hopkins, and Mitchell as a unit has been very, very effective.
Different type of second half for St. John's. After they were up 17, they had to hang on. Their 3 consecutive wins, Tariq, were all by double digits, ascending margin of victory each time. So they were really tested here in the final minutes in a way they haven't been recently.
Yes, they were. You got to give the Wildcats some credit. This is a good team, well coached. And they will be heard from for sure.
Palmer well off. Perkins has 2 more, 23 points for him tonight. The double team on Jackson will send him to the line.
How about Ian Jackson with a big game as well. And we'll go back and look at the play of the game here. This short roll action with Hopkins and Ejiofor. Just great action there. And Ejiofor gets the ball right into the middle of the paint, draws 2, and finishes strong. And that iced the game for the Red Storm.
Big scoring night for the guy at the line, Jackson. He's got 17. Comes in averaging 11. Pattern continues for St. John's. They've out-rebounded their opponent now. In these 4 consecutive wins, they've also made more than half their shots in all the wins. Askew in the final seconds. He'll pick up a couple of more. But St. John's in second place by themselves in the Big East. At 6-1, they separate by 1 game from Villanova. They are the closest team to UConn at this point.
They are, and they have changed the dynamics of their team significantly in the last few weeks. This is not the same team we saw versus Iowa State versus Alabama. They're much improved. They're figuring things out. Coach Pitino has got them trending up.
Number of players in double figures, 4 for St. John's, led by Hopkins with 22. He also had 6 boards. Jackson had 18, and their leader, Ejiofor, with 15 to go along with his 7 rebounds. So the big names, the big 3, as you talked about. Fist pump from Rick Pitino. They come through with a 7-point win in Philadelphia. Right now, we send it back to the studio and hand off to Ahmed Fareed.
Kind of like we thought it would go. Welcome to College Cool Down, presented by Discover. Ahmed Fareed, Matt McCall. Not necessarily the winner of this game, but back and forth. Villanova making a charge. This was a battle for the second best team currently.
We finally got it
in the Big East. We know for now it is St. John's, who had the 1-point lead at the break, and we talked about a little bit before then. 4 of their 5 losses this year, they have had the lead at halftime. We're able to get the win in this one.
Yeah, really to set the tone to start that second half, coming out 15-3 run But on the offensive end of the floor, took great care of the basketball in the second half, executing just one turnover.
Wow.
But that last play, the play that Tariq Turner was talking about, that sealed the deal for this win for St. John's. It was the 4-5 ball screen between Bryce Hopkins and Zuby Ejiofor, the two best playmakers on this team. They are playing through their front court. Everyone wants to keep talking about point guard. They don't have a point guard, lack of a point guard. Well, guess what? Their 5-man leads them in assists. And Bryce Hopkins is starting to play the way that he did before his injury. Outstanding win for St. John's.
Yeah, and so this is a team, 5 losses on the season, but what you're seeing right now, is this what you expected to see from St. John's early in the year?
Yeah, we expected them to be competing with UConn for a Big East championship.
Maybe doing it in a different way.
I'll be honest. I admit when I'm wrong. I expected St. John's to get to the Final Four. 1, because of who their coach is. 2, because I do feel like Zuby Ejiofor is, if not one of, the best front court players in the entire country.
You think they can still do that?
I think they can make a run. There's no question, especially because they're playing better. They're defending better. You go back to that Providence loss, there were some lapses defensively. They have fixed some of those issues. When you're going to switch 1 through 5, that's a lot on Bryce Hopkins and Zuby Ejiofor. And Zuby at the 5 spot to be able to switch and move his feet, super impressive.
Yeah, and they were able to handle all of that. We welcome in the man who is leading St. John's this season in scoring and blocks and assists, basically every major category, Zuby Ejiofor. Thanks for taking time to talk to us. You're looking over the box score, taking a look at the numbers here. I got Matt McCall, Ahmed Fareed. What is that sheet telling you right now?
The sheets told me that I got to get in the lab, man. I was 2 for 7 from the free throw line, man. I can't do that, especially if I want to be the maximum player that I want to be.
Always wanting more. Zuby, what changed for you guys early in the second half?
It's just I think our intensity, level of focus, especially with the scouting report, increased, and there was a lot of guys that I could point out to who was able to just bring us a spark of energy and just translate to winning. From Dylan Mitchell to Bryce Hopkins to Isaiah, Ian had a tremendous game. So it was just everybody played a huge part in this victory.
Zuby, Matt McCall, congrats on the win. Take us into the locker room at halftime. What was the messaging from Coach Pitino on what you guys needed to do better in the second half?
He was real loud. It was just the attention to detail is what we're lacking. He felt like, we were being ourselves. So, we were, and it starts on defense. It always starts on defense. Defense, last year was our calling card, and we're trying to get right back to that. And I think our defense is what, translated to us to, winning this game.
Zuby, last one for you, and we'll let you go celebrate with your teammates. Not too many front court players lead their team in assists. How much pride do you take when the ball's in your hands of setting up your teammates?
A lot of pride. I have a lot of, great shooters on my team, and, I'm all about making the right play every single possession. And, if I'm double teamed, like I said, I have great shooters to be able to knock down the three-point shot. And I feel confident in my game, in the low post as well, in one-on-one matchups and stuff.
All right, Zuby, appreciate the time. The least surprising news of the day, it was real loud in the locker room with Coach Pitino. Thanks for sharing that. Zuby, good luck the rest of the way.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Zuby, we're looking at that sheet. It's like, I don't like this, I don't like this, even in a win. So we showed you this end of the first half. David Askew, the three-pointer. You said maybe this is something Villanova found out, and it will have a good start to the second half, the opposite.
Well, I think that was one of the only poor switches that Zuby Ejiofor had the entire game. And Askew, he took full advantage of that. Heels below the three-point line, took advantage and able to knock it down. But really, the run here to start the second half, 15-3 run. There was a play, Ahmed, and I know we're not going to see it in the highlight, where Zuby Ejiofor dove on the floor for a loose ball all the way on the other end of the floor. That ignited his team in order for them to get on a run, which ultimately cost them to win this game.
Yes, Sanan with 3, and Ian Jackson with a 3. Here's Zuby Ejiofor down low. Offensive rebound, give me that. Going back up with it.
Yeah, he's just so physical on the inside. And this is the play that I'm talking about right here. The 4-5 pick and roll executed to perfection. Great pass, great catch, great finish. And St. John's has found something here with that combo up front.
They're rolling a little bit. They look good on both ends of the court. Get the win in Philadelphia. Tough road win to maybe decide, as of right now, who is the second best team to UConn in the Big East. But I want to pick out something that you said to me, too. It was Ian Jackson, one of the players for St. John. Who was going to be the catalyst in the start of the second half? They've had those troubles, even with a halftime lead. You saw something from him early on.
Yeah, I saw a lot of things from him. And we talk about Zuby and Bryce so much, and they were terrific and outstanding. But I think I heard Tariq Turner say it as well. The three-headed monster.
Yeah.
That's the big three, he called it. But just, you see him here. It starts with him in transition, surveying the floor, head and eyes up, sees that he has an angle, sees that Zuby's man is sticking with him, goes all the way down the lane for the right-hand finish. Next possession coming down, a little drag screen, not too much here. Job of running pick and rolls is to get two on the ball. He sees the bigs not in a position to help, goes right at him all the way down the lane for an aggressive finish. And then we got a little step-up pick and roll on the weak side of the floor. He reads it, sees it. This is just a difficult shot. Off the bounce, early in the shot clock. He saw a couple go down, found his rhythm. Big second half for him.
What did we learn about Villanova in this one? Because still 5-2 in the Big East. You look at the Big East, maybe 3 teams, maybe 4 teams will make the NCAA tournament. They're in the mix there. What did we learn about them?
Well, I think turnovers were a little bit of a struggle, especially in the first half at different times. We know that they're a team that, you know, their offense is ignited through ball movement, through player movement. The ball didn't change sides of the floor enough, but still, they competed till the end, tried to make a run there at the end to get back into this. But listen, you got to get back to work. You have an opportunity to get to the NCAA tournament. Their young point guard, Lewis, struggled at times today. Yeah. But that defense, the size of Bryce Hopkins and Zuby Ejiofor, when those guys are switching pick and rolls, can be intimidating. Just got to get back to work because you got a lot of games, a lot of opportunities coming in front of you. And I do think Villanova is still an NCAA tournament team.
Some young players, Lewis being one of them, first-year head coach in Willard, but they look improved from what they were last year, and so a step in the right direction, even in a loss for Villanova.